Welcome back students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST June. Students, in the previous video of the chapter 18th century political formation, we have studied about the political formation during the Mughal Empire in three provinces, that is Awadh, Hyderabad and Bengal. But there were not only the Mughal Empire. Few more empires which were formed by the Rajputs, these were also there. So today we are going to study about these empires under the topics the Watan Jagirs of Rajput. As few Watan Jagirs were provided to Rajput by the Mughal emperors, so how they fought for their Watan Jagirs and which type of things they formed for their own, that we will study in that. And after that, to study this topic in more detail, we will see the next topic, that is seizing independence. As there were three more dynasties of the Sikh, the Jats and the Marathas. Even in the Marathas, we can include the Peshwas. They were also there in that provinces. So how their independence was seized by the Mughal and what they did after that we will study in our today's video. So let's start our today's topic. Hence, by the time Aurangzeb ascended the throne, the Rajputs from Amer and Jodhpur began to revolt, and most of the Rajput kingdoms became independent from the Mughal Empire. They did it for their Watan Jagirs because the Rajputs were thinking themselves more powerful as compared to the Mughals. So they fought against the Mughals and they became independent from the Mughal Empire. Out of all Rajput kings, Raja Savai Jai Singh of Amer, he proved to be the most outstanding Rajput ruler of the 18th century. He founded the city of Jaipur and made it a great seat of science and the art. He was a great astronomer and erected observatory at Delhi, Jaipur, Banaras, Ujjain and Mathura. Besides, he built the Amer fort and a number of beautiful monuments and palaces at Jaipur. For some time, it seemed that the Rajputs were gaining their positions back, but they were constantly at war with each other. Because they were having a small territories, so they started to control over the other territories. Due to that, many wars were occurred during that time. With the rise of Jats, the Marathas and other provinces rulers, they lost their Jagirs and also had to leave their states. So how their independence ceased, let's see in our next topic, seizing independence. Here, three groups were there. These were known as the Sikh of Punjab, the Jats of Bharatpur, and the Marathas and Peshwas of Maharashtra. So now we will see about them in detail. So students, first we will see about the Sikh of Punjab. The Sikhs were oppressed by the Mughals. They rose up in Punjab by the end of Aurangzeb's rule. They became a political and military force under the leadership of Guru Gobind Singh. He organized the Sikhs into a military group called Khalsa against the Mughal. They continued a prolonged struggle against the power of the Mughals. Its invention of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, about which we have already studied in our previous chapter. They provided the Sikh an opportunity to challenge the authority of the Mughal. They began to occupy the provinces step by step. After Guru Gobind Singh, his disciple Banda Bahadur led the Sikh and the struggle against the Mughals. In the second half of the 18th century, the Sikhs formed 12 strong political groups. These were known as the Misl. Each Misl controlled a specific area and had a chief. They carried on their activities within their territories. In 1715, Banda Bahadur was arrested and put to death in 1716 at Delhi. After his death, the Sikhs were divided into several groups and they lacked able leaders. Towards the end of the 18th century, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the leader of Suker Chakia Misl, united all the Misls and established a powerful kingdom in Punjab. His army was only second best of the British in Asia. The Sikh territories in the late 18th century extended from the Indus to the Jamuna, but they were divided under different rulers. One of them, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, reunited these groups and established his capital at Lahore in 1799. Now let's see about the next group, that is of the Marathas. The Marathas had provided the most important challenge to the Mughal power during the time of Aurangzeb. In 1674, Shivaji proclaimed himself ruler of the Marathas and took the title of Chhatrapati. He was a brave soldier and great general. He united the Marathas politically and led the foundation of the Maratha state. A small group of loyal warriors gradually grew into a large, well-trained, disciplined army. The army consisted of cavalry, infantry, artillery, and also navy of about 200 ships. He employed a new method of warfare called the guerrilla warfare. With the help of these warfare, he captured many forts near Pune. The growing power of Shivaji alarmed the king of Bijapur. He sent an army to capture his father Shahji Bhosle. Shivaji defeated the army and succeeded in killing General Afzal Khan. After the victory, Marathas became very powerful. The Sultan of Bijapur was forced to recognize Shivaji as the ruler of Deccan Plateau area of Konkan. Being afraid of Shivaji's growing power, Aurangzeb sent Shaista Khan in 1663, but he was wounded and the Mughal army was defeated. A year later, Aurangzeb sent his most trusted Rajput general Jai Singh to fight with Shivaji. Jai Singh defeated and arrested Shivaji. He was forced to sign the humiliating Treaty of Pandharpur. In 1670 AD, Shivaji renewed hostility with the Mughals. He raided Surat and captured a huge booty. By 1673, he had control over most of western Maharashtra and had made Raigad his capital. In 1674, he assumed the title of Chhatrapati at his coronation. He built a powerful empire which included Maharashtra, Konkan, and large parts of Mysore. He died in 1680. His son Sambhaji succeeded Shivaji. He also carried on the struggle against the Marathas. After Sambhaji, his son Sahu continued to fight against the Mughal. He appointed Balaji Vishwanath as his Peshwa or Prime Minister. Balaji contributed greatly to the success of Sahu, as Sahu was incompetent and pleasure-seeking ruler. All the powers were concentrated in the hands of Balaji Vishwanathan. So then after that, the Peshwas were raised. The Peshwas controlled the Maratha Empire from 1713 to 61 and made the Marathas the most important regional power in the Indian subcontinent. The first Peshwa ruler was Balaji Vishwanath. He re-established the Maratha glory through his merits. He also got the rights to collect chauth and Sardeshmukhi. These were also a kind of tax from provinces in Deccan. He made the office of Peshwa hereditary. He also established a Maratha confederacy along with Bhonsle, Scindia, Holkar, and Gaikwad. He was the chief of this confederacy. After his death in 1720, his son Bajirao first succeeded him, who proved to be a brilliant commander and an ambitious and clever statesman. During his reign, the Maratha power reached its climax. He pursued the policy to expand his territory. He fought many battles with the Mughals. By 1740, the Marathas had extended their control over Malwa, Gujarat, and part of Bundelkhand. After his death, his son Balaji Bajirao succeeded him. Balaji Bajirao followed the footsteps of his father and extended the Maratha Empire in all directions. The Maratha began to overpower the states of Gujarat, Malwa, Bengal, Mysore, and Hyderabad. In 1752, the Marathas reached Delhi. In 1756, Bajirao defeated Ahmad Shah Abdali, but in Third Battle of Panipat between Marathas and Ahmad Shah Abdali, Marathas lost the war. After this defeat, the Maratha Empire disintegrated and their chiefs started ruling independently in different regions. Thus, the Maratha dream of controlling the Mughal Empire and establishing their own empire over large part of country shattered. Now let's see a little about the Jats. The Jats lived in the area around Delhi, Punjab, and Haryana. They were a clan of hard-working farmers. They frequently rose in revolt against the Mughal revenue collector in the 17th century. The prominent leaders were Badan Singh and his son-in-law Surajmal. Surajmal extended the Jat kingdom to Hathras, Aligarh, Rewari, Gurgaon, Agra, Dholpur, Etawah, and Meerut. Bharatpur was their capital. He established the first Jat kingdom. He was a great warrior and statesman. After his death in 1763, the Jat kingdom was declined after the attack of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali. Here you have seen a rise and decline of three different provinces during the Mughal Empire. So students, in the chapter 18th century political formation, we have studied about the political formation of the Mughals and the different provinces as of Nawabs of Awadh and Nizams of Hyderabad. We have also studied about the political formation of the provinces in Bengal. In our today's video, we have studied about the three Rajput provinces as from the Sikh, Jat and the Marathas. So students, it was the 18th century political formation. After the political formation of these provinces, the Mughal Empire was declined as well as the British Empire was raised. So after that, we can say the British were the new power of the 18th century ending. So the British also framed their political formation in our country, about which we will study in our new class in 8th in the our past history part 3. Students, here our chapter is complete. Here are few keywords which you have to note down in your notebook. And for more videos and updates, keep watching SSD June.